Hello and welcome back to my Let's Play of Gnomoria. We're going to get right back in where we left off here. Our gnomes are cutting down trees and we're mining out and collecting some stone, getting everything stored in stockpiles. So we're going to start taking down some of these hills here in just a little bit and cutting down those trees. We're building some workshops and getting our wheat planted. So we'll just pick up where we left off and let these guys just work at it. So we're starting our second day. We're almost at sunrise on our second day. Feel like we've got a pretty productive first day. We've gotten some beds made. So you can see some people are sleeping on their straw beds and some people fall asleep on the floor because, you know, or crate apparently, since that's the only thing available. So you can slowly work her way back to her bed. Beds will always give you a better sleep. So, I mean, I know when I sleep in a crate, it's not a very good night's sleep. So those beds are important, even if it's just a bunch of straw. You sleep on a hay bale, it's going to be better than sleeping in a crate. So always make sure you can get that. And there's several strategies for doing this. Like I said, this is a pretty casual game, so we're not going to worry about it too much. I know. Just keep going and going, and they're pulling out dirt for us. So they're going to run out across the whole map and collect dirt and everything like that, which works because we don't need them to do a whole lot right now. Our stone cutter here, we're going to make some raw marble and raw granite. And let's do 8 marble. And then we're going to do 32 marble. And so what I'll do is I'll explain some of this here in just a minute. I just want to get this started. This is like same thing like the priority list. So what's going to happen is if you're at the stone cutter or the stonemason and you all of a sudden don't have enough stone to do a job, well, they're going to move down on that priority list and move to the next priority, which is going to be this stone cutter here. So they're going to come here and they're going to start here and say, okay, I'm going to make 1 marble block. I made a marble block. Do I have enough to make this project over here, the stone cutter? Say you're making a statue and I think it takes 10 blocks. Well, they're going to say, well, no, I don't. So they're going to come back to the stone cutter and make a granite block. Well, did they need that block over here? No. So then they're going to go down the list. And so what this, I guess I should explain this first. This craft to option, which is very handy, will make sure that there is 1 block of marble in inventory at all times. Or 32 blocks is what it eventually comes down to. And this is where it gets kind of tricky. So we'll just start with this 1 block here. This will always make sure there's 1 block in the inventory at all times. This will make sure there's 8 blocks. This will make sure there's 32 blocks. But what happens here is so we're crafting something that takes 8 blocks. They're going to come to the stone cutter and check, is there 1 block in the inventory? And do we have 1 block in storage? We do. Okay, well, I'll skip that job. Is there 1 granite block in storage? Oh, we have 1 granite. Okay. Is there 8 marble blocks in storage? Oh, no, we only have 4 marble blocks. So they're going to craft marble blocks until they get to 8. Well, then all of a sudden, this project says, hey, I have the 8 blocks I need. We can make it. And so he switches over to this job and crafts what he needs and then goes to the next project. Well, it might need 1 marble block. So he comes back and makes his 1 marble block and then goes back and forth. And it helps to speed your productivity up. And that's what a lot of this game is just maximizing your gnomes' productivity in the way they do things. That's where your job priorities come into play. That's where your workshops and how your storage is laid out. Every morning at 8 o'clock. Oh, well, every morning it's going to save the game for you. That's always a good thing. Even though it says sunset, I always thought it was morning. It says the sun has risen, however, it says it's also sunset at 16:49. I apologize. See, there's things I completely forgot about. Sunset is going to happen at 16:49. However, it is currently 7:55 in the morning. 7:58, 8 o'clock. It's just telling me when it gets dark, so I can prepare for it. Doesn't really matter, but I can be ready for it. So we got our woodcutter here who's still chopping down logs for us. We got several people that have fallen asleep who've had a rough day. The harder they work, the quicker they're going to need to rest. Just like anyone else, you work super hard in your day, you're going to want to rest pretty quickly. So we'll let them take a nap here. We're also going to come up here and we're going to set up a couple jobs here. We want to get down to the -6. And eventually we're going to mine out all of this area here. We're going to need to mine this wall here and this wall here. Alright, there we go. That'll get us down to the -6 when they wake up. It's not super important at the moment to get down there, but we are going to have to get some metal and some stone and things like that. So it will really benefit us to do that early and figure out what we're looking at. Since right now we don't have any coal or any materials here, I could start branching out, but most of the time you're going to see our first metal sometime around -6. We're pretty close to it. So here goes our stone cutter here, going to start making our stone blocks that we requested. Go ahead and forge these couple things out of the way here. And we need to forge some more of this stuff out of the way because we're going to build some stone walls. And we need to clear out some of this stuff so that when we start cutting down trees and things like that, we can clear this out. So we're going to fell some more trees. Okay. And we're just going to cut on all the trees in this section. I'm going to chop them all down. And what we'll probably do is we'll probably just extend the water out this way a little bit and to make the lake a little bigger. But you got to do it slowly over time, because if you try and do it too quickly, you'll lose your water level, and then all of a sudden you just won't have anything. So we have to be very careful how we progress through this. So we'll dig, ramp down. Now we're going to kind of dig that out just a little bit. Sometimes I wish gnomes could swim, but I can understand that it's difficult to have that in there. And you can see every time you work in here, it gives ripple effects and changes the water level. Now we're at 96% water instead of 100% that we were at earlier. But digging it as a ramp instead of just a hole means if something actually happens and they fall in, they have a way out. Otherwise, they're really in trouble. I wish they could dig ramps down and make it all a smooth lake, but it doesn't work all the time. So coming back over here, looks like we got our carpenter built. We're just waiting on a saw blade. And for that, we're waiting on our stonemason, who needs a chisel. Looks like she's going to get it now. So they're going to build this chisel and they're going to start working on these planks. And the fun thing we can do is we can cancel this chair and workbench, because we can put that into the carpenter. We could say I want a pine chair and a pine workbench. And the carpenter's always going to be better at crafting things than these crude workbenches. These crude workbenches just don't offer a lot of options, which is perfect to get started. It'll get you going. But after that, you really have to work at it, so. Alright, so we're still working on it. Oh, see, there they go. Now they're going to build us our stone cutter. Or our stonemason, rather. See our supply of blocks here. Got marble and granite blocks just waiting. Oop, there's some copper. That's good to see. Some more copper. That's always good to see. So when we mine those areas out, we're going to get some metal, and that's going to be good for crafting armor and weapons. Various things like that. You can craft our higher quality tools, but no one's ever really successfully figured out, at least the last time I was aware, that the higher quality tools are actually going to make a difference. You know, you could go from an iron pick, but if it doesn't make a difference, then why would you worry about it? To me, I don't know. It looks cool, I guess. So we're still working on our second day here. Still just waiting. And that's what a lot of it is, especially early game. You've got a lot of things to do, so you're micromanaging a lot, but you're really just, oops, some more copper. Yeah. And some serpentine blocks here. And still some more granite. That's good. I like that. Gives us some variety in our stone. So still working. Looks like he's chopped down most of those trees over there, so let's dig ramps down. And we're just, like I said, we're just going to kind of open this up a little bit. So my plan is we're going to have just several buildings and make it just like an above ground village here. It's not going to be completely walled off, but it's going to be walled off a little bit. So let's go ahead and fell these trees here, because we're going to have to start digging these areas down. We want to knock this hill out, so it's just going to take a little bit, and it's going to give us a lot of dirt, which is downside to it, but it's part of it. I mean, you knock a hill out and you're going to have dirt. Same thing up here. You know, we're going to start knocking a couple of these areas down, and it's just going to give us a lot of dirt, but especially this one. If I start knocking that out, woo! Agriculture, and fell some more trees. We're going to keep our woodcutters busy, that's for sure. Have a stockpile of wood. I hope we don't get any wood golems. I honestly don't know if they're in the game or not. I know that there's wheat golems, which are kind of a weird one to have. But there is. We'll send all of our gnomes to fight it. Alright, so let's make our saw blade while we're waiting for it. And we're going to change our priority here and make that a 3 priority. So it's got a higher priority than our stonecutter. That's going to be very important. And we can deconstruct these 2 things over here. We won't need them anymore. As soon as this thing's made, we'll be making some planks. We'll get some more crates and stuff for storage. We'll kind of move some of our storage around and reorganize some of our workshops. I haven't seen any coal yet. I'm a little disappointed in that, but that'll be okay. Alright, let's come over here and let's fell some more trees. Because we're going to build a wall here just to keep people from coming in. You know, we kind of dug this out so nobody could get in. We need to kind of dig this out over here. So we're going to kind of dig that out so nobody can get in over here. Oh, saving the game for us. That's a good thing. Good thing about all the autosaves is when you screw up, you can go back to a previous save. I've done it several times. You know, you going along, all of a sudden looks good, and then all of a sudden there's a giant goblin invasion because you did way too much at one time, and it really hurts. So it's things like that. I'll do it. You can do several things, and it's kind of a, you know, again, it's one of those sort of cheating things, but it's not quite, because it's very easy to screw up in this game and kill your whole gnomish society. or even just lose half of them. And you lose half your gnomes, it's really hard to recover. It makes a lot of really tough years, especially if you don't have any fighters. It takes a lot of really tough years to get back into a working society. So here's our sawmill. Let's make a pine plank. And 8 pine planks and 32 pine planks. Just like we did before. Let's set it to a priority 4. And then we're going to take our carpenter, make it a priority 3. And I know one thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to make some sticks. And I'm going to need to make some crates. We're going to keep 1 crate on stock at all times, so we can do that. Let's do the same thing with some barrels. We're going to make 1 barrel at stock at all time. 1 workbench. And so several of these things, see, we need some, as soon as we get some planks and some sticks, we're going to craft some training dummies. 2, 3, 4 training dummies. There we go. So some of the stuff like the beds we can't craft or do anything with now because we don't have anything for the clothing industry yet. We don't have anything for cloth. We don't have a loom or a tailor. You know, we have to get a bone needle from one of these guys or butcher something to get a bone needle. And since we don't have anything for that yet, we can build our food and drink. We can build a kitchen and a distillery to make some drink like apple wine or strawberry wine, orange wine, things like that. Most of the time, though, we just build a well to get us started. It's not satisfying drink, but it's a drink that'll work. So we just give them a well, and you know, so when they run out of wine, they can, or even yak milk, they'll drink that as well. When they run out there, they'll be going after that stuff. Add another crate there. Let's add another couple crates there. Another couple crates there. Probably doing too much at one time, which is kind of the bane of my existence. I like to queue up a whole bunch of jobs, and then it usually bites me because I do too much. One thing I know that we're going to want to look into is getting a furnace, which takes 10 blocks. And we're going to come over here to the carpenter, and we're going to make a bellows. And we're going to move that up on the list. I want that one to be done first. We need that to make coal. And coal is needed to make torches. So what we do is build a furnace. Furnace converts logs into coal. So we want that, and we're just going to kind of throw it down here for now. Like I said, we're going to rearrange pretty much everything in this once we're ready to go. We got to get started sometime. So, you know, I was at work today, and it was the same thing. We ended up rearranging our whole office just to get things going. You know, they kept wanting to start a job, but you can't do it when you don't know where everything's at. I have a bit of OCD and streamlining kind of stuff going on. You know, I gotta have everything in its place so I know where it's at. Is that way it makes it easier when I actually need to do the job that you're paying me for. You know, when I gotta go search for tools or search for supplies for 20 minutes, it just doesn't work out very well for me. Kind of makes me a little upset. So this game works in a very organized fashion. I'm very organized most of the time, and we'll get there. You'll get to watch it slowly evolve into a thriving society. Maybe, if I don't kill everyone first. So our guys are slowly working on chopping down trees still. Did we get our... Yeah, perfect. Let's go ahead and just dig out a couple more spots here. And the one thing you got to watch out for is if I queued up both of these jobs, sometimes it'll knock this one out, and they have no way of accessing this square. So you got to kind of do them one at a time to not screw it up too much. The AI still needs work. It's pretty good, but it still needs work. So we're still going to wait on them to come back out here. They've got a couple stone jobs working right now. And one of them's probably asleep, so... So we're just waiting. We've got our... You can see our furnace sitting over here, ready to go. I haven't seen our billows yet. They're still waiting on that one. So a couple training dummies, but... Let's see... What do we need for our military training grounds? We just need some training dummies. Well, let's go ahead and get one of those started, because I need to start training our monks. The more training we can get, the better. So we're going to drop that one right there. And then we're going to go into our military here. And we're going to make a new position, and we're going to call it the unarmed. Perk. We want Way of the Gnome, and this is when you have no armor, no weapons, you have increased speed, damage, and dodge. That's very important in the early game because you do not want to equip your gnomes. It may seem like a good idea to put armor and stuff on them, but they're better off without it. You don't want it. So we're also going to take off this pursue lost targets, because otherwise they're going to run all over the map trying to chase something down. If it runs away, let it go. There's no use losing a couple gnomes in a fight that they're not going to win. Keep them behind my bases, things like that. The other thing we want to do is retreat if bleeding, so we can get some bandages and stuff like that, which we'll get soon. So that's a position. We're going to make a formation here, which is basically... You can set up different soldiers, so you can have a tank and several like ranged attackers in there, or you can have a... one fighter, one or two or three close-up fighters, and a couple like just pure damage-dealing attackers that use two weapons instead of a weapon and a shield, or a large variety of things. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our monk squad, Way of the Gnome. For Way of the Gnome, for this, it's doesn't really matter. Keep your eyes open is probably the best one to start with. Since we don't have a shield, we don't really want to do that. We don't have ranged weapons. None of those are really going to help us. So keep your eyes open, at least give us a larger sight range. And so we're going to set all these to be unarmed. And we want to perform attack orders. And so there's that. And so now we're going to make a squad. The Muddy Hogs of Orb. And we're going to say we want you to be Way of the Gnome. And we have two here. We've got Pakanon and Zilipin. Those are our two monks that we want to start training. The other thing I want to do is we're going to make a second squad here. Grubby Cinders. It's going to be Way of the Gnome. And I'm just going to use that for later. And we're going to make a third one. And that's going to be used for later as well. Now what I want to do is I want to make a town militia. And we're going to make it Alpha Squad. And so what this does is I'm also going to want to put all of our town soldiers. Every single person. Stonecutter, woodcutter, farmer, ranchers. I want to put all of them in a training schedule because I want them all to start training even just a little bit. To a third of the day. We're going to make a Bravo squad. And so what I do is I'll split up. So I'll put a stonecutter in one and a miner in the other. And a woodcutter and a carpenter and the other brewer. And then any other people I got left. So this one's only got 3, but it'll be okay. I like to separate them. That way somebody's always available to do a mining job or a stone cutting job or a carpenter job or a wood cutting job. Someone always is available to do those. But what it does is when they're training, it's going to train up their skills. And let's go look here. Let's go look at Zilpin under his skills. So he's got these combat skills. This big one here is his dodge. Right now it's only at a 9. We want that to be a lot higher. And that means he's going to dodge attacks as often as he can. It's not a 100% guarantee he's going to dodge an attack, even with a high skill. I've had a 200 and 300 dodge gnomes that have still died to a goblin attack. I mean, it happens. It's sad and unfortunate, even with such a high skill, but it happens. But what happens is, so all of our people have these dodge skills. So even if just a random woodcutter runs into a goblin in the woods, that goblin attacks him, that dodge skill for that woodcutter is important. So that woodcutter, even training just 2 or 3 hours a day, or a third of the day, you can train that dodge skill up. So even if that's like a 50, that's a higher chance of that woodcutter making it back alive than it is that woodcutter dying if he had a 9. So I lose a little bit of productivity, yeah, but I gain a lot in survival of my gnomes, because that gives them a chance to run away. Just run away. One of the other things I want to look at here is I want to go back to our... Not our enemies, that was the wrong one. I want to go back to our town militia here. And what we actually need to do here is I need to make another one called Town Militia instead of Way of the Gnome. Town Militia. And I want to keep your eyes open, and I want to be unarmed. But we want to put on avoid enemies. And I do not want them to perform attack orders. And so now that squad is what I want for my... I want to change this to Town Militia instead. So that way, when they run across an enemy in the wild, they're going to do everything they can to get away from that person. It's going to be better for us, because otherwise they're going to try and attack them. And when they don't have a high dodge skill, or they don't sit here and fight all the time, they're not going to do very good. Not at all. So as soon as we finish this trading grounds, we're going to start setting up some gnomes to be training. There we go. We're going to set the Muddy Hogs up, and Town Militia Alpha, and Town Militia Bravo. And eventually what we're going to do is I'm going to build a second training grounds here. And I'm going to make the monks, they're going to train 2 or 3 times out of the day. They're going to be training almost all day, because they need their skills higher than just every person. So who's supposed to be training now? It is 2022. So it's supposed to be our Alpha squad. Sometimes they do this where they won't come train. We'll see if we can figure it out. Alright, I'm going to stop this Let's Play here. We're going to figure out why they're not training, and we'll come back in just a little bit and hopefully see you on our next video. Thank you.